after 6, so we'll get started. I'd like to welcome everyone to our regular business meeting for the month of April. Hope everyone's doing well and enjoying the spring, enjoying this beautiful weather. With the adoption of the agenda.
I make a motion to adopt the agenda as is.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, on public comment, we only have one, that's Miss Lucy Dahl.
Somebody has to do
Trees, dogs, and alcohol.
Yeah, well, since Danny's not here to give us a history lesson, I thought I would give a brief one. And today is the 13th anniversary of the end of Prohibition in Burnsville. And I welcome you all. Join me at Snapdragon afterwards.
You're right.
Yeah. The other thing, the trees is about, I know we've talked about it before, and I don't think it's ever been part of, because we don't qualify for Tree City USA, but again, 2 perfectly healthy, large, gorgeous trees, I think they were oaks, on Summit Street got cut down. And I don't know why, I don't know whose property they're on, and maybe one day I'll walk down there and ask them why. But trees are super important to the quality of life and your children's and grandchildren's future, so please think about helping some of us who are more vocal about it make something happen, because I don't know what else to do. And the dogs thing is actually, I wanted to report that the Thomas Wolfe Festival is happening on Saturday, May 20th from 10 to 4 on the town square. Dylan Wilson's going to entertain, and we've got all 3 counties, Mitchell, Yancey, and Madison County, all involved bringing dogs to adopt, and there's going to be some kind of a costume contest. Maybe one of those things.
Thanks, Phil. All right, public hearings, we have one on the agenda, the CDBGI application.
Do the minutes.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we got it. Everybody had a chance to look over the minutes from last.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Now we'll move on to Michelle Ball. For the CDBGI application.
Are you sure it's legal in Yancey County to have one of these meetings without Danny McIntosh present?
Well, I said the same thing.
I haven't been to one either here or the county
I
meeting
did
without him
see-
being there.
I did see on Facebook that he was somewhere out of town.
I can always count on him for a comment or 2 about these projects. But anyway, another public hearing, and I'm going to preface to say I've got a lot to read tonight, kind of like I did the last time I was here. Different project though. This public
Oh,
hearing.
hold on a minute.
Okay.
I think we need to open the hearing.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Make
I
a
make a
motion.
motion to open the
Just
hearing.
go ahead and open it.
Right, and
You
there-
can read you as the presenter.
Okay. I'm gonna
Thanks,
get
Michelle.
cool. I'm sorry. This public hearing held on April 6, 2023 will provide an explanation and description of the 2022 North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality Community Development Block Infrastructure Grant, which I'll call a CDBGI grant. And yes, I said 2022. They had money left over from last year because of this gut of ARPA money that was there. So they're having a special round of funding, and it is technically last year's money. We're present to discuss the purpose of the public hearing for the town of Burnsville CDBGI funding application. The purpose of the public hearing is to obtain citizen views and allow response from the public to funding proposals and answer any questions proposed by citizens. This public hearing will cover the town of Burnsville's community development needs, development of the proposed activities, and review of the program compliance before the submission of the town CDBGI funding application to the state of North Carolina. So the town of Burnsville proposes to request funding from NCDEQ's CDBGI program for the Burnsville Wastewater Treatment Plant Improvements Project. The proposed project will meet the following community and housing needs of Burnsville by making improvements to the town's aging wastewater treatment plant. And so the purpose of the CDBGI grant program is to improve the quality of life for low and moderate income people. Beneficiaries of moderate income as defined by the the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, known as HUD, to perform eligible activities to minimize displacement and to provide displacement assistance activities as necessary. And for the fiscal year of 2022, CDBGI funding available is expected to be about $19 million. The maximum available grant is $3 million over a 3-year period, and applications for funding will be received by May 1st. The CDBG program is available to fund a wide variety of community development activities. The state of North Carolina has chosen to fund several activities, including water and sewer infrastructure, neighborhood revitalization, COVID-19 related projects, and economic development projects that lead to job creation and retention. The infrastructure program, or the CDBGI program, can fund a range of water and sewer infrastructure activities, including but not limited to the following. For water projects, projects that resolve water loss in distribution systems, those that extend public water to areas with contaminated wells, extending water lines to areas with dry wells, assisting with low water pressure in public water systems, projects that regionalize 2 or more water systems, and projects that rehabilitate or replace a water treatment plant. And on the wastewater side, it can do projects that resolve inflow and infiltration to collection systems and surcharges from pump stations and manholes, projects that extend public sewer to areas with failed septic tanks, and projects that rehabilitate a wastewater treatment plant to allow for greater efficiency and compliance with regulations, which that's what this project is for. The town of Burnsville is seeking an amount in CDBG funds not to exceed $1 million. I want to explain that a little bit. There's $3 million that is available. The maximum award is $3 million, but the town has an existing $2 million project. So $1 million is all they can go for this project. So it's for the Burnsville Wastewater Treatment Plant Improvements Project. And the purpose of the town's request is to make necessary improvements at the existing wastewater treatment plant located at 812 Pine Swamp Road to satisfy an SOC issued January 2022. The town plans to construct a new 0.5 million, is that how it's said? 0.5 million gallon a day plant to replace the existing 5 plant. Refurbish and repurpose the old 5 plant and for equalizations in sludge holding and digesting. And the project will also include the replacement of existing headworks, gas chlorine elimination, and chemical feed improvements, piping modifications, aeration improvements, site improvements, and the construction, well, take that out. It will not do the construction of the new lab building. That was in the old project, so forget I said that. The project work to the wastewater treatment plant will not add any capacity to the existing system, which is an important point because we cannot add capacity with CDBG program funds. The project proposed by the town of Burnsville was identified in the town's 2016 asset management plan, which was updated last year, I believe. A total of 100% of the CDBGI funding will be used to benefit low and moderate income people. The project area in the town of Burnsville has been determined to have 55.67% area-wide low and moderate income, and that's per the most recent U.S. Census data, which is above the 51% is the minimum that the town must have. The range of activities covered by the CDBGI funds for the Burnsville Wastewater Treatment Plant Improvements Project include construction, environmental review, engineering design, construction admin and observation, legal activities if necessary, surveying if necessary, and grant administration. If Burnsville is awarded a CDBGI grant, the town is required to adhere to federal procurement requirements and other federal regulations, which include, and you've already done all of these with the other grant, so it's a bit of a list, but you've done it. The American Disabilities Act, Section 504, Davis-Bacon and related labor acts. You'll have to adopt a citizen participation plan equal opportunity plan, fair housing plan, language access plan, relocation assistance plan, a section 3 plan, and an excessive force prevention plan, which again, you already have those on file, you've already adopted those, and we actually might be able to use the old ones in the new grant if we get it. The state of North Carolina requires that if the town of Burnsville receives CDBG grant funding, that the town will certify that they will comply with the requirements of the general displacement and relocation policy for the grant funding. This policy assists low and moderate income people with costs associated with relocation or displacement should such relocation become necessary due to the project. And there is no expected relocation or displacement with this project. I'd like to explain this. This is a DOT a carryover from a DOT regulation that usually comes about when a road's put in. You all experienced that with 19E. People get displaced, they have to pay to move them. If that was to ever happen with CDBG, but CDBG funds could cover that cost if that was to ever happen. I don't think that the wastewater treatment plant's gonna displace anybody. Not to repair one. And in the past, the town of Burnsville has applied for it and received the following completed CDBG projects. Economic development, in 2005, an economic development project to extend water and sewer line to Altech, which was $1 million and created 100 jobs, which they've created many more than that since then. 2016, CDBG infrastructure grant at the Peterson Trailer Park, and it was sewer line rehab, $900,000. 45 homes served with functioning wastewater disposal. 2017, another sewer line rehab at Indian Trail Meadow Road. 37 homes and a 32-unit apartment building served with functioning wastewater. And although it's not complete, there's one going on now. We're working on one for a $2 million project on the West Main sewer interceptor. It's just not been completed yet. Or not, well, we need to bid it out. But the town of Burnsville would submit its CDBG application for the Burnsville Wastewater Treatment Plant Improvements Project on May 1st, 2023. The CDBGI application will be available for review during normal business hours at the Burnsville Town Hall, located at 2 Town Square, Burnsville. Additional information is available from Heather Hockaday, Town Manager, 828-682-2420, or hhockaday@townofburnsville.org. Should you have any complaints or grievances regarding the subject of the public hearing, they should be addressed to Heather, at the address above or the email above within 15 business days or by April 27th, 2023. And written response to the written complaints or grievances will be sent by the town within 15 business days where practicable. So now the floor is open for any comments or questions.
Did you have anybody sign up?
We didn't have anybody sign up for comment. Board have any questions or?
They're just great, you keep bringing it to us. Just
We
keep coming.
love seeing you.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, I can apply. I can't promise to bring anything, but we can keep applying for you as long as you've got the projects.
We definitely appreciate all you do for the town. That's for sure. Don't have any further comments. I have a motion to close the public hearing.
We'll make that motion.
All in favor?
Ah,
Thank you,
Here's
Michelle.
a resolution to apply.
Yes,
That's
it
later
is.
on.
I think the resolution's was in their packet.
Yes.
So you guys will need to move to adopt the resolution just to submit the application.
I'll make that motion.
No, second.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Michelle. You're welcome to head on out.
Bye, Michelle.
Might get home before dark tonight. All right, next up, we have Mr. John Anglin and Sheriff Shane Hilliard talk about Freedom Life Yancey.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
So we just want to stop by a little bit and tell you about Freedom Life Yancey. Don't know if you've heard of that or familiar with it. So what it is, Freedom Life Ministries started in McDowell County, I believe, 10 years ago. And it's a reentry program that works with someone when they get out of jail or prison. They hold their hand, and they hold their feet to the fire, and they're having great success in McDowell County. I met with them probably first in 2020, and then, you know, we all know what happened, COVID kind of slowed everything down there. But Sheriff Buchanan in McDowell County says the best thing he's ever seen for McDowell County as far as helping people get off substance abuse. So, Freedom Life has now started in Avery County. Avery County is just a little bit ahead of us, and in Yancey County. So, we're currently trying to hire a reentry coordinator through a federal grant that they received to hire someone here as a full-time job in Yancey County. And there's gonna be an event here at the town center, and John is actually chair of the executive committee over Freedom Life in Yancey right now, so I'll let him tell you a little bit about the event.
Yeah, so the event, as Shane alluded to, McDowell County's been doing this for a number of years, so Sheriff Buck, or Ricky Buchanan, will be coming up, and Brenda Vaughn as well, who was their jail administrator and a former county commissioner in McDowell. And they're gonna speak about the benefits of what Freedom Life has done for their community. And one of the things is that several years ago, prior to COVID, I became, one of the things the Sheriff's Office looked for was more people to come in there and encourage our jail population with hope, and that they could, you know, have a new start in their life. And so while there's a lot of negative statements to be made, there is a need to focus within our community on some outcomes that are more positive. And one of the things I think that stuck with me once I got involved with this was actually from Brandy Renfro, Letterman, but she is, what's her position? She's supervisor?
She's the chief probation officer over the 24th Judicial District.
One of the things that really just kind of hit me was when these justice-involved people on post-release, when they are released here at the county courthouse, oftentimes, they have no place to go, which is a big part of it. They don't know where to turn in order to change their lives around. And the statement Brandy made is they'll give them a packet, and on the back of that packet's a phone number. They call the phone number, it's Buncombe County. Buncombe County answers and says, hey, how you doing? Who are you? Where are you from? They say, we're from Yancey County. And they say, thanks for calling, but we can't help you. And so right now there is no option here for these folks. And so a lot of conversation has been out there as it relates to whatever programs there are, a lot of different programs. But again, we have neighbors in McDowell County with Sheriff Buchanan, who's a friend of both Shane and I, where we see, and Brenda as well, where they're seeing real things happen. Today we had a meeting, a committee meeting, even before we come down here, heard from a guy who spoke to that as well. And so we're doing an event on April 27th, Thursday. That's a Thursday evening, and it'll be right here in the town center. And so we're going to do that at 6:30. Doors will open at 6. There's going to be a free meal, which is always great. There's going to be some music, but then also you're going to hear directly from people. You're going to hear from the sheriff, from Brenda, and from others who have they've been a part of this process. So the thing I like about it is I'm never a big believer in reinventing the wheel. If you've got somebody that's had success with it, and it's been a program that's worked. They actually, speaking of CD Community Development Block Grants, I always get it mixed up when I say the acronym, they actually were recipients of one here recently, where they're taking their housing efforts to a whole nother level. So it's active involvement in that community, and I think it would just be an incredible thing for Yancey County. The reason why I'm on board with it is, of course, you know, coming from a community of faith and belief in what I believe, but also because, you know, when the sheriff and law enforcement says this is a mechanism that can help make our communities safer and healthier, I think that's a key element. So I want to thank the town council, the mayor, and all of y'all for hearing us out tonight.
So does the administrator or whoever you hire, do they work directly with employers to try to place that person?
Yes.
How does that work?
So the reentry coordinator will do a lot of work in our jail. So right now, the commissioners have committed them an office space, a county office space. They're a big employee of Freedom Life, not the counties, but the county's going to give them a free office space, and then they're going to give them some opioid money toward that position. But yeah, So they'll reach out to employers and they'll help get those people jobs, and work. And then they're gonna, what's it called, reentry council will be created here out of this event, which we need a lot of employers to be on. And so employers will have input on how this works.
Right.
Basically. Yeah. Any other questions?
And does this administrator work one-on-one with the people reentering
Yep.
into the workforce?
So they have it at different levels. Of course, if you're currently incarcerated, that's the idea with those who are currently incarcerated, is they'll come into the jail and they'll come in, they'll talk to them about the program, they'll work with them while they're in there, and then they'll work with them post-release as well. So it's their early discovery of who wants to be in the program. It's not a forced thing, of course, they have to make that decision, and then again upon release. And so the areas, I mean, they're focusing on housing, they're focusing on job training, they're focusing on recovery, they're focusing on transportation as well.
So it's a lot broader than just the employees.
Yeah, 7 different areas that they're really trying to get, ahead of. I mean, it's pretty incredible when you hear some of the things that happen.
I think it's an awesome idea.
Yeah, and they're approved, Freedom Life's approved, who's the prison's under now, DPS, that they should be tracking names all the time, but anyhow, they're approved to go in prison. So if I find somebody in jail, gets sentenced to prison, they're gonna go right with them to prison and follow them and still work with them in prison. Then the day they're released, they'll be right there to pick them up from the prison and bring them back to the county.
Is it up to the inmate to
Sure, it's
willfully?
totally voluntary, and then they have 2 paths, because they received a federal grant, they can choose a faith-based path or a non-faith-based path.
Right.
Call it morality.
So this will be like a long-term relationship.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, the initial.
It's already been.
Well, the initial funding, of course, there's gonna be a lot of efforts towards that, but what they already have is a commitment of 3 years. And we think it's gonna get it to that point where it needs to be to just get that buy-in from our community as well.
Yeah, I mean, Dow's is mostly sustained by businesses and churches and individuals in their county now, is how the program's run, through donations. But we've got the first 3 years.
So are you guys accepting donation
The-
for your event?
They will be, and it's 501c3, yeah.
So, Randy, we've been working probably for the last 6 months,
Yeah.
I guess, on just trying to get, and I mean, they've been very intentional, and that's what I liked about it, because we've heard of how many different programs, trying to get started. But they're very intentional about getting the foundation and the groundwork done, and I think I've been more impressed probably with that than anything outside of them electing me to serve as chairman of this. They've made some smart decisions.
And in Avery County, they are working on some transitional housing, aren't they? Through Dogwood, maybe?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And they have their grand opening in Avery County for, April
17th,
17th.
Yeah, it's their grand opening.
I mean, Shane and Brian and myself, we're just seeing such an influx.
Yeah,
We
so,
have got to try to do some stuff.
yeah, we're looking at the numbers, I mean, we're booking releasing around 350 times a year in our jail.
For drug abuse,
I mean, that's everything.
however.
But that's 350 arrests that actually come in and go to the jail and get processed out.
And what's
Either go to
the
prison.
percentage of drugs? A third or better?
I mean, if you trace it back, 95% is drug related. They may broke in the home, but they broke in the home to get money for drugs, yeah. So,
Well, I think it's a phenomenal program, and wish you guys the best on it, for sure.
And certainly come out and join us on the 27th.
right, the doors will open at 6.
6.
And we'll start serving barbecue right at 6. Bubba's and Pig and Grits both jumped on board. They're gonna donate everything for the food, so.
Oh, great.
yeah.
Thank you guys so
All right,
much.
thank you.
Right.
Welcome, Mr. Howe. We'll move on to the, Shane, you and John are welcome to stay or leave, whatever you got. Understood.
Got more work to get.
Understood. Thank you, Sheriff. We'll move on to Ms. Hockaday with her manager's update.
Okay, we'll get the ball rolling with FEMA project update. The engineers, I was hoping to get it by meeting time today, but haven't
I
got.
thought they sent it.
they sent the design's been approved, but they've got the bid docs together. It's in the informal range, so it's not gonna be a formal bid package, but they're putting together some scope information so they can start contacting potential contractors soon on the Azalea Lane cover project. So that's a big yay. And I did get, which this is later on down in my report, but I got, before I left, that's what I was waiting on, the agreement for engineering services with Medlock and Associates.
Yeah, that's the one I was, saw come through.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
For Meadow Road. So they're going to, this month, be sending out a crew to do some assessment work, some camera work. One of the struggles with all these projects is everything's underground, so you don't know what you're dealing with, but we hope this will be a repair situation or just replacing a portion of that culvert wall. They met with Shane and I think in January, just an initial kind of consultation, and looked a little bit, but they want to get a crew in there to do an assessment. And after they do the assessment, they'll do a design on what needs to be done, and then they'll provide bid assistance again, and then they'll provide some construction administration services, make sure that things are filed that need to be filed with FEMA so we can get reimbursement. The cost of their services on this project, the Meadow Road project, is $11,500. And if we can kind of skip ahead, and maybe y'all just approve that now, since we were talking about it, allowing Russell to sign the contracts and the agreements for that.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. ARPA infrastructure projects, all the initial engineering reports have gone down to DEQ. They're in various stages of getting approvals that are necessary. We are very hopeful. I was meeting with Mike Dowd and Patrick Kuzak from McGill this morning. We're hopeful that DEQ, we had hoped by this afternoon, would give them approval on the bid documents for the water treatment plant project, which will be the first one to go. I know that they sent a couple of the engineering, had some comments or questions, and the guys have been out with Shane. Shane and Matt have spent some time looking at what needs to be done to get all those questions answered for DEQ. So we're just waiting for the initial engineering report approvals, and then we'll move towards design phase and bidding. The county earmark projects. So this morning, Shane and myself met with the county manager, the engineering team from McGill, and a contractor that has been working on their collection system for over a year now, I guess, to discuss the repairs to the East Yancey wastewater treatment plant and some older parts of the collection system. This has been a 28-year project. The plant's been there for some time and received very little flow during that time, which has caused some issues with some of the stuff down there. And then the collection system has been taken on, in the older parts of it, been taken on some I&I places where they've got, I guess, connections or manhole seals that weren't correctly done. You have to remember, I think, on that project, I don't know how many contractors worked on it, quite a few. 3, yeah. So, we feel good about the new work that's been done, but the county is going to use a portion of their earmark. I think the estimates for both of those projects, the inspection and the possible repairs that would need to be done, and then the work that needs to be done down at the plant itself, are in the neighborhood of $1.5 million. They're going to use a portion of their earmark for that. So hopefully we'll get a formal sealed estimate from the engineers on this soon. Then Corey from High Country will submit the county's application to DEQ to release those funds. Of course, it's all in a reimbursement. Nothing gets actually released, but they've been obligated towards this project, which is good news for us because, as you know, the town is slated, once these repairs are made, to take over that ownership of that system and connect it to our system. We talked about the connection to our system. We had already paid as part of the OMC pump station project for the engineering design for the additional pump that would be connecting into their system, our system to their system. There's about 1,000 linear feet of force main that'll have to be constructed and installed, and the county is going to also use part of their earmark for that. So that's all good news. Y'all got any questions about water and sewer before I move on? Or infrastructure in general? Okay, the town hall lift project, the elevator project, agreements have been signed for that work to begin in May. And the project finish date is, I think, the 7th of August. If everything goes well, I know that the contractor has ordered the lift from the company. Down payment's been made on that, so that's exciting news finally. Things turn slow, but we might get something done sooner or later. The building on North Main, we received, John Arno and I, the architect, worked with a company, Modern Construction, to just come up with sort of a high-level estimate that we could use for fundraising to try to get some interest in funding for this project for the new police station and public works department. And we got that estimate back. The basic plan is going to be 1.36 million. If we add in the elevator and a couple of other things, that bumps it up to about 1.7. We have sent that out to a potential funder along with the plans, and we'll see if we get any traction on that. If not, we'll be looking for grants or some other way to get it done, but at least we kind of know where we are in terms of getting that buttoned up. The next thing I have is a whole bunch of reimbursement resolutions. When we get these grants, they are all on a reimbursement basis. We have to pay for the work, and then we submit our request and application for reimbursement, and then they send the money back to us from the state. And so we need y'all's consideration on these resolutions. I believe there are 5 for the ARPA projects and then 1 for this CDBGI, the West Interceptor project.
Can that be lumped into one resolution?
It's all,
Or one
they're
vote,
5
one-
separate, but I think
one
you
vote.
could make one motion to adopt all of them.
I'll make that motion.
No, second it.
Agreed.
Thank you.
And thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you. And the last thing, I wanted to bring up East Main Sidewalk Project, because that's one more resolution I will need a separate vote on. I met with Kyle Case with the North Carolina Department of Commerce, and then after that with Phil True and Tatiana McGee up at High Country. And we've decided that it's worth taking one more bite at the Rural Transformation Grant apple. We've decided the category that we went under, that maybe some people on that committee might not be so favorably inclined to the town of Burnsville due to past dealings they've had many years ago in different positions. But so we're going to apply under the resilient neighborhoods category and see if we can get some traction there. You know, Kyle had reviewed. He's sort of a regional planner with them. He had reviewed our applications before, and they're really good. I don't know what the deal is, but we want to submit another application for that sidewalking project to them. And we think it will help with the fact that we got the second DOT grant for the feasibility study after we updated our pedestrian and bicycle plan. So that is on the agenda for y'all's consideration.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
And the last thing I have is the tax report. You all have a copy of it. And unless you got any questions, we're just moving ahead every way we can to collect what's left on it. But it's been a good year.
Anybody have any questions for Heather? Thank you, Heather. All right, move on to Mr. Fox.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My first item just is in regards to our next meeting. This venue is not available. Niles has said that the fire department would be an option if we wanted to keep the same day and time. And if that's okay with everybody, we can change that for the fire department in May 4th.
I have no
Good
problem
with
with
that.
it.
We just change locations, same everything else.
George Corbin's wanting to haul all this stuff over there.
I guess the big question is, it easier to change the dates or to move the stuff?
No, it would be,
Okay.
yeah,
I hate to cause you
No,
extra.
there probably won't be a live stream for that. There is one thing, and I'll just bring this up, we had talked about the lease with Area C and had done a notification in the paper that y'all would consider the resolution on that lease at the May meeting. Well, the statute requires that it be at a regularly scheduled meeting, which means time and place.
Oh,
So we're gonna have to bump that another month.
Till June.
And do it in.
Because we're in a
June.
different facility.
Because you're in a different facility, even
Really?
if it's the same time,
Yeah,
if it's considered a special meeting under the law instead of a regular business meeting.
It's
Yeah, I know.
not a huge deal.
It shouldn't be. Just letting y'all know.
My second item is Bill Wheeler's term on the ABC board is up. He has expressed interest in being reappointed. We also had 2 other applications that I sent out to you all. We just need a nomination to fill that seat for the next term.
I nominate Mr. Wheeler.
Second. All in favor?
ah,
Motion carries. Chad.
All right, thank you. And lastly, I have a letter from EDC interim director, Jamie McMahon, recommending the council nominate Jill Austin to fill the remainder of Jim Ashton's term.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that one.
All in favor?
Aye.
And that's all I have. Thank you.
Carries. Thank you, Chad.
Yep.
Hey, one thing kind of from us to you maybe, the dark sky thing, are we gonna do that as a group or individually, or can you take care of the RSVP?
I can, yeah. If you'll just let me know who's interested in going.
Yeah, too.
If there's a quorum, Ed, y'all will need to let him know, because if there's a quorum, you'll have to notice it.
I probably won't be. That's probably baseball on a Tuesday. So,
Said you were going.
I don't
I'll
think,
know this week, for sure.
probably not.
Okay.
I'll probably go. I'll just know more later this week, for sure.
I would like to as well. So there's a quorum.
Yeah, gotta go on.
And then if we can get a Yankee County Transportation van, I can drive it. We can all meet somewhere and ride that van up. Unless everybody just wants to go independent.
I don't know if the county's going, I'm assuming the county commissioners will invite us.
No, municipalities.
Oh, municipalities, oh, I thought they were.
Yeah, I think the thing said Burnsville, Spruce Pine, Bear
Oh, okay.
boards.
yeah, that's what Dr. Boyd said too, I believe, in his presentation. All right. Anything else? Chad or Heather?
That's it.
We'll move on to Mr. Dale with the Public Works report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I guess the first thing that I have to talk about is we've thrown around the idea of contracting the mowing. Namely because all the projects is fixing to start taking place. I think I can remember the times when we was building the road out here and several of the different things that's been taking place where we're just covered up going too many different places, too many different times, and we was wanting to see about contracting the mowing. I've got 3 different bids. Basically, what it boils down to is the cheapest that we had was $24,800 for the year. That's basically for 8 months out of the year. We was wanting to see if you all was agreeable to that, or where they can get something else.
And the rest of this fiscal year, Leslie has checked, and we have the funding to cover those months, and then the rest of it would be in the new budget year.
Well, I will say that that's less than, or equal to, probably less than the cost of an employee.
Or a big mower,
Or a new mower.
or a new mower.
And like Shane said, doing any type of utility work, and we're gonna have a lot of it going on.
We're gonna be spread pretty
People's
thin.
gonna be hitting a lot of stuff, and the crew's gonna be repairing a lot of stuff, or at least having to be there to communicate with that contractor. I know firsthand, aggravate the town to death when you're digging in Burnsville, but, I'd make a motion to approve that.
I'll second that.
I agree.
Let's hang on just one second.
Okay.
The only thing I'd say is, in my dealings with the county government, we did that, we didn't do that, we did do that, we didn't do that. So if we make the move to go contract, let's kind of stay that way. Because then you go back and have to buy mowers. Because I guess we got mowers now.
We do have more now, and we're gonna keep the square and town hall, because everybody that's priced this job out did not want either one of them, to be honest. Mainly the square, because,
Cars.
yeah, so I mean, we're keeping that, so I mean, but the mower that we have should last for many years, for
If you
just
cut
mowing
down,
that
cuts
square.
down. It's
Yes. But-
Yeah, and I'm not against the thing, I just kind of, that we keep.
And I think the difference too, Randy, is that the county had so many different facilities
Yeah.
that you can look at, so I don't know why we can't mow this ball field, or,
Yeah,
you know,
and as a group.
This is basically all combined right here in the corporate limits.
Other than the two sewer plants, which it will take care of both of them too.
That includes them.
Yeah.
That's everything, that's water plant, right now, that's the field out here, the sidewalks, the field at the shed out there. That is pretty much everything except for the square and basically town hall.
And that'd be the
Let's go.
sidewalks
Yes,
here on the bypass as well,
Yes.
because we don't have, the county takes from, to the town line.
And DOT still does the median, correct?
DOT does the median as long as nothing's ever planted out there in that median. They take care of it. That's what I've always understood about that anyway.
That's what they said.
So, that's one place that I didn't ever want to be out there, was mowing that median.
Yeah. Dangerous enough on the sidewalk.
It is.
Is that motion carried on that check?
Thank you.
Yes, my vote's yes.
Mine is too.
All right, I guess the next thing will be the proposed sidewalk projects.
Oh, who was the low bidder on that,
The
Shane?
low bidder on that was Marco. He was the low bidder on that. All right, on the sidewalks, we've been looking at redoing, the sidewalk there in front of Garden Daily, which has been eaten by salt pretty much for the last several years. And redoing this sidewalk right here next to the new inn on South Main right there. Actually, it will only go down as far as to the carriage house. One reasoning behind that is trying to get rid of some of the steps, make it ADA compatible. Plus, we've dug into that sidewalk and put water line and different things, but that, and there is a section of sidewalk to be put in up at Avery Street, basically in between the First Baptist Church and the Reconciliation House there.
And that was a request from the
Been asked
reconciliation.
about. And we asked for bids on that, and basically what it boils down to being is it looks like about $21,300. And I think we're looking at trying to move money, is that the ARP?
So that would be, I guess, our revenue replacement money,
Revenue
which was our
replacement.
initial ARPA funding, that we've just been holding. We used a good portion of it for paving. We're talking, it was 21.
21.3, I believe is what I've got wrote down here, and that's low bid for each one of those, basically.
Right.
Three different projects.
3 different projects.
I have a
Motion approved.
Second.
All agreed.
Aye.
We need to bring, Leslie will need to bring a budget amendment
Yeah.
and no, we'll need to bring a project ordinance.
I
don't
know, I
we
think
need to
we'll be
bring a
fine.
project ordinance on
We'll be
that.
fine. I'll just
Okay.
kick that line up before we've done the paving.
Okay. Well, go ahead, I'll go ahead and put the contracts together on both of those.
And the last thing that I have, and I assume that it's probably in your packet, and you probably looked over it, would be the sewer access agreement with Piedmont Natural Gas. And the only thing that it boils down to being is they would like to have access to pop our manholes, clean outs to see exactly which way the lines are running. We go, anytime that they're doing a service install or anything, they put in locates. Well, we go mark our lines and everything, but it don't hurt to have another set of eyes look in there and make sure lines running where we say it is and everything. And it might help from having yellow pipe in our sewer pipe at some point in time, because we have run into that in the past. But it's just an agreement for them to look and check on our sewer lines, see which way they run.
I'll make a motion to adopt the agreement.
Second.
Agree.
Aye.
I think it's everything that I have.
Thank you, Shane. All right. Miss Leslie with finance report.
Thank you, Megan. Let's see. I sent out the budget versus actual, I think last Thursday, and I was just looking at this as you've done the agreement to mow. I'll probably just change the actual line that had the money in it was in the street line. It's 10,560,1302, and it's street maintenance, so I might just call it now street maintenance and contracted services. But there's 10,000 in there, so we're fine for this year. But I will be bringing a budget amendment for this sidewalk project, next month. And other than that, all I've got to talk to you about is a day to set up a budget work session, because it's that fun time of the year.
Tis the season, tis the season.
And have a blast all week with it. So we were looking at the week of May the 8th. Is there a day that works better for you guys and the time?
We gotta look at, I guess we'll look at Randy's schedule first and then go from there.
I would love 15 and 16, but I'll try to work with whatever everybody else needs.
Now, this is EMS, not fishing schedule, Randy.
It's May. It's May. And I ain't seen April yet.
16th is out, I think. 15th we could do, but,
Monday.
May 15th would work good for me too, but I'm open to whatever works for everybody else.
okay.
I'm good on either one of them.
Still in mind.
So you want to do the 15th? Okay, what time?
I think Judy likes 8 a.m.
What'd she say? 8 a.m.?
Leslie don't like it.
Yeah, 'cause she gotta get ready.
It's too early to
What do you
talk
think?
about what we gotta talk about.
10? 10?
Yeah. 10's good, if that's okay. with
Yeah,
you.
I work off that morning, so it gives me time in case we catch late or something.
Well, you will have had your egg by that time, Leslie.
Oh, sorry, they're talking about it. I think
Will you
Christie's
have had
here
your
that.
egg by that time?
I
Yeah.
have Christie in the side room here on Mondays, and she's.
Doing an educational
Yeah.
summit.
And I am going to that.
Well, I mean, we could do
I'm
that.
going to,
Can we
right?
be here?
Can't we do?
We can do that
We
at
can do that at
town
town
hall.
hall.
We can do it at town hall.
We can do it at town hall.
Yeah, the niece
We
is
can
on.
do town
Oh,
hall.
but I was gonna go to that, because it's only
What time?
Martin Block, yes, and it's all day.
Oh.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay, well, you'll try back again for the 8th.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, Russell, you want me to fix your egg?
We'll go back to Randy.
Yeah, well, I work off, same day I work off Sunday, I work off Monday. So, yeah, I was telling May it's gonna be a little later.
The 8th. Is that what we're looking at?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Catfish or body.
May 8th.
May 8th.
That's at 10 o'clock as well.
10 o'clock?
Huh? You're not gonna be on that?
Well,
Will we be on the ninth?
Yeah.
That's the only day.
The 8th is the only day.
Eeny, meeny, miny, moe, here we go.
Okay.
So you said 9?
Yeah, but we can do it over there.
We can do it over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We gotta double check with Randy, you know? Then
I'm out.
You're out.
I'm out. But I mean, I ain't gotta be there.
Huh?
I don't have to be there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Is there another day that week that works for you?
I've got family coming in from Ohio.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, well,
Well, it's okay. I mean, Chad's just gonna, it's fine. I'll take minutes.
yeah, we really don't do much
Wouldn't be
minutes for
There's
It's
the
a
no
work
action.
session to
Yeah,
talk
there's
about
no
the
action.
numbers.
Yeah,
That he'll have to book. Yeah.
do what?
I said, there's no action we'll take that day.
No.
Yeah.
so we're going back to the 8th.
Back to the
Yeah.
At 7 o'clock.
7?
10. I was just giving Judy a hard time.
I'm retired. 10 o'clock.
The 8th at 10 o'clock at Town Hall.
Got it.
Are you gonna send that out like early?
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, send us one.
We
So
will, we'll send it. We're just waiting, you know, the Department of Labor that we used to tie the increase to should have their updated figures by the end of April. And like, they just sent out, the league just sent out a COLA survey, so there's no information back yet. And then me and Heather are going to a thing, but it's not till the end of May to try to, a round table, so it's kind of up in the air. So, you know, we're thinking we might have more information by then. Just see what our belts is doing. But yeah, I'll send it out.
Thank you.
By the end of April.
Sounds good. Thank you.
You're
Leslie.
welcome.
All right, we'll move on to Chief Howell with his fire department report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You have our call out report for the month. And the only comment I'll make about it is up considerably, and most of that is due to last Saturday. I will say we were very blessed that nobody was hurt in all that calamity that went on. Had several trees down, several power lines down in town and surrounding community. And the guys worked very hard. I'll have to praise them and everybody that had a part in getting that cleared up as quickly as they did. But as far as anything else goes, we're just carrying on business as usual. It's getting warm weather. We'll be out. You'll see us out probably doing some hybrid testing in the next few weeks, trying to get that caught up and completed for the year. And that's about all I have to report.
Thank you, Niall. All right, Chief Buchanan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, we have our activity log for the month. I just have a couple of updates of some upcoming events, just want to make people aware of, mostly due to some early morning road closures. The 22nd will be the Burnsville Fit Families 5K. We had a safety meeting on that this past week, I believe, at the fire department. And emergency management's going to be putting out some of the message trucks around, trying to let everybody know, because we still have the issue with Azalea Lane being blocked. So we're going to do it like we did last year. It was only shutting down one lane of North Main and use some coordination with that. But I think it went well last year, so we're hoping that will hold true again this year. And then the following week is the metric, which is not that traffic intensive, but just if you see a bunch of bicycles running out of town, that's what's going on the 29th, which will be the following Saturday. As far as zoning code enforcement, we have a planning board meeting next Tuesday at 5 o'clock here at the town center with quite a few things on the agenda, both the alterations and changes that you all had requested the planning board take a look at with regards to the zoning, some of those minor fixes that we talked about last time, and then they'll also be meeting as design review with a few projects to consider to go through. That's all I have. Unless someone has any questions.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Buchanan? Thank you, Brian. Mr. Corbin, Town Center.
March was a little slower than it was last year, but towards the end last week, I had an event every single day. Very, very busy weekend, but April is busier than it was last year. Last year we had 24 events in April, this year we have 30, and then for May, last year we had 24 as well, and then 27 this year. Still a chance I can get a couple more events in there, but it's filling in. This year is filling in quite nicely. Other than that, I don't really have much. It's going really well so far.
Thank you, Corbin. Council member reports. Anybody have anything they'd like to report on?
Not really a report, but I think Saturday opened a lot of people's eyes to how dangerous it can get in a hurry. And I don't think we had a lot of pre-warning that it was gonna get that bad. And I don't know what we can do about that, but I'd like to see something on National Weather Service that says, if you look at Rick Flynn's stuff, had to be either a tornado or a downburst. He's got trees ripped up, he's got trees rung off, and it did crazy stuff. It come up that hard, and then down at the bottom, if you seen Stanley's fence, it's laid down the other way. So I mean, as Niles is talking, at one point we had 39 different occurrences in the county with trees, power lines, and we depended on our volunteers to take care of most of that. And I appreciate it.
And I did reach out to Heather midday that day and ask her opinion, as far as, you know, it looked as if the temperature was not gonna be, you know, very cold that night, but I did reach out to Heather to see if we might wanna get with, and I actually went as far as to go to talk to Niles, but as I walked in the door, they got a call to go out to see if we might need to open up some type of temporary shelter at the fire department, but with the temperatures, you know, staying in the 50s, it was, I don't think it was crucial, but that would be something that we might need to look into, you know, if we have an occurrence like that with, you know, people without heat.
Well, the weirdest thing out of that whole thing, the last guy to get fixed was in the city limits. There was 4 people left, and he was in the city limits, and he's fine. He's from Florida, and he had a generator. And I was talking to him, and I said, "Explain this to me." And Shane and I was having a sidebar over here. He's got one line that comes from his house down the bottom of the hill, and that one pine tree took out his line. And since he's the only guy on that line, he was the last one fixed.
Well, mine came back on at 2 a.m. and my neighbor, who y'all are familiar with, is close from here to the kitchen from me. His was not on the next evening till like 5 p.m. the next evening. Wow. It was crazy. I was checking on, you know, I was talking to Heather periodically, and she's like, you know, Dad is out down there at the townhomes on Robson Street. So I rode down there just to see what was going on. See if she said he couldn't get out. There was a tree across. So I was gonna go down there and help him get out if he needed to. And half the townhomes had power at that point.
Yeah,
It was crazy how.
Yeah. Around.
One side did, one side
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah, that great big pine tree there at Church Street probably was his problem.
Maybe.
It took that whole line out there.
There wasn't a power line in it.
No, that's
It's just telephone cable.
Telephone.
Power line stopped at the top of that property there. But that's the other thing that you know, we probably need to share the word about. When trees come down like that, it's not always just trees. Most of those trees had power lines wrapped in them. And you just can't do anything with them until the power company gets there and tells you that's a dead line, because not always there's a dead line. A lot of those trees we cut up had burn marks on them where they'd arced on the power line, so.
We definitely appreciate what you guys did, and obviously French Broad worked very hard around the clock too, so. commend them.
I mean, would be a little after the fact, but a resolution to French Broad might be pretty good. Because those guys were up about 36 straight there. And I guess I put that in the form of a motion.
To do some kind of recognition.
Yeah, just a resolution, appreciate it.
Yeah, that's.
I do have something briefly to report on. Heather and I met yesterday with Congressman Chuck Edwards, along with County Manager Jeff Whitson and Superintendent Kathy Amos and Chairman of the Board of Education, Evan Fortner. We met here at the town center with the Congressman. He said that he would come by and meet with us for a couple of hours just to kind of see what our needs were. And, you know, obviously our needs are still water and sewer infrastructure. You know, we'll take everything we can get. And the county, as they have in our meetings with the county, we're on board with that as well. You know, obviously their need is in the housing, but you gotta be able to put water and sewer to those houses before you can have the housing. So, he was here just to offer his support and offer his help, you know, if he could help in any way from the federal level. Obviously, a lot of this stuff that we deal with is on the state level, but he was very open to hearing what our needs were. I'll let Heather elaborate more on that if she has anything else to.
I don't think so. I think he just, more than anything, wants to get to know the community. You know, he spent most of his time in the state legislature in Hendersonville and Transylvania and Buncombe County, so he's getting to know the more far west, I guess we're east actually, parts of his district, and he wanted to know, you know, what kind of projects we had going on, what kind of needs we had. I think they're similar to what most smaller places around his district are looking at. There's a housing crunch and there's infrastructure issues and things like that. And so it was good to have somebody at least come and sit down and talk to us. He asked a lot of good questions, I thought. And we asked him what he would need to see from us in the future if there were some funding opportunities he could help with. So I thought it was a valuable meeting from that standpoint.
Does anyone else have anything?
Our country did not meet this past month, so we'll be meeting again this month.
Denise, you or Randy have anything else? All right, we'll move on to advisory boards and nonprofits. I don't suppose we have a report for EDC.
I can just say that EDC met on Monday, and they have, I think their job position has been posted for about 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks now. They had one applicant thus far, talked about some other places where we could advertise that would attract suitable candidates. And they put together a committee once they had a pool of candidates, and I think probably be looking at contacting people for interviews by the end of this month. That's what their committee was talking about. So that's all I've got there.
All right. Miss Christie, chamber update.
Good evening. Thanks for having me again. The Chamber and Tourism have, over this last month, approved sponsoring 4 organizations to the amount of about a little over $6,000 to help support their promotion of their events. We are looking into wayfinder signs for the community and starting to look into what that would cost and what the regulations are on that, and contacting some organizations about that. Participated in the Blue Ridge Parkway Foundation's Blue Ridge Rising program that's going to help tie in gateway communities along the Blue Ridge Parkway and help do a coordinated promotion effort for those communities to try to draw people into our towns. Still working on the Building Outdoors Community Project, where we're building the necessary assets so that we are grant ready to ask for funding for outdoor infrastructure. That's pretty much most of what's been going on the tourism side, besides general advertising and marketing that I continue to do for that. But additionally, on the chamber, we do have our remote worker networking event on April 13th. On April 20th, we're doing the business after hours at MW Studios. We have our business education this month on April 27th. And then before that, on April 16th, we're doing a litter sweep to help clean up Yancey County, partnering with Home Place, Birdfoot, and Fillmore to help pick up trash along the highways. We've got the Education Summit coming up next month that has interrupted your budget planning. It will be an all-day educational summit that we're bringing in Martin Blossman, who is a marketing consultant out of Raleigh. And then on May 20th, we're doing a Year of the Trail event in partnership with Home Place. We're kicking into high gear for tourism season. I can tell you for sure the data that we have shows that we continue to see higher and higher occupancy tax revenues, which means more people are coming and more people are staying. So that's what I've got going on. If that's not enough, I don't know what is. So any questions?
Sure, you get a little more in there.
If you want to come work in my office.
Thank you, Chief.
Are you hiring? I might be looking for a job.
All right, and as Bill said, the High Country did not meet, so there's nothing to report on there. I need a motion to leave open session and enter closed session. Pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11, to consult with an attorney retained by the public body, and also pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11, to conduct manager and clerk evaluations. Randy made a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No.